cryptocurrency.
Like a couple Bitcoins.
Money,
Pull up on my Nakamoto.
Hello, welcome everybody to the Blockchain Dynamics Show.
Hope y'all had a good week.
Another preposterous week in cryptocurrency. I'm going by Brandon Doge.
And I'm Woody.
We're here. It is episode number 59
That's
of
right.
Blockchain Dynamics.
Yeah, Sunday, April 16th, 2017.
We are, of course, brought to y'all by Cryptopia. That's www.cryptopia.co.nz.
In case you didn't know, they're your one-stop crypto shop.
Yeah, here's the thing about Cryptopia. They got a fantastic exchange over there. Ton of great base pairs. You can trade against USDT, Bitcoin, Litecoin. Actually, probably one of the most active Litecoin secondary markets that there is, I would say. But in addition to that, they have a ton of other great futures. Don't forget to check out their mining pools, markets, like classifieds, kind of peer-to-peer, goods exchange, that kind of stuff. They really got it all over there at Cryptopia. Not only that, they have a forums.
That's right. And if you head over to the forums, find the altcoin section and the Blockchain Dynamics show thread sticky to the top there, leave us a message. We'll send you some DOT.
That's right. We love giving away dots. Dots, of course, are the native cryptocurrency on Cryptopia. And you can buy any of the services on Cryptopia. Obvious stuff that you'd expect, like coin listings and promotions, are paid for with DOT. But also some funner stuff like troll box features and that kind of stuff you can also get with DOT. So it's a cool little incentive program they've got rolling.
Don't forget about KDC Clicker.
Yeah, and they also got a fun little clicking game you can play too, so I'd recommend checking that out.
And also, we have 60,000 DOT rolled up into the jackpot for the giveaway today.
That's right. We do a trivia question every week on the show, and if people don't solve it, the reward for that week gets rolled over into the next week. We're up to 60,000 of those sweet, sweet dots.
Yep, and that's available for live listeners, so we'll let you know by the end of the show if somebody got it.
So, alrighty, let's fire off into the news here. Love that news.
Cool. Right off the top, we got the DAO on the list.
That's right. So the DAO, as everybody knows, the huge failed distributed cryptocurrency governance project.
Yeah. Decentralized corporation.
Exactly. Ethereum essentially forked their blockchain to try and alleviate the catastrophe that it caused because so many Ethereum were invested into it. Ethereum Classic now has this problem of what to do with all of the Ethereum Classic that was invested into the DAO on that fork.
So what's the deal? I've been wondering about this for a while, I guess.
So apparently they set up like a contract to allow people to cash out their DAO in exchange for Ethereum Classic again. So anyone who had DAO on the original Ethereum chain at the time of the fork can then cash that DAO back out onto Ethereum Classic for Ethereum Classic tokens.
Okay.
And so they kind of had a short deadline on this at first for people to cash them in, but they've been continually rolling it back as time goes by. And this week they did it again. They extended the contract. So at this point, I think like 80% of the people who had DAO have cashed it out already.
Oh, wow. That's quite a bit.
So yeah, honestly, it's surprising to me that they're continuing to wait this long on it. The amount is still a large amount. It's like quite a few $1 million worth of coins, but
yeah, I can understand why you'd want to give people the chance to get that out.
So anyway, eventually this contract will expire, and then all of the remaining Ethereum Classic will go to the white hat hackers who themselves hacked the original, not hacked, but they exploited the same smart contract flaw that the original person did to kind of wrest control of all the coins from him. And now they've just been messing with their contract ever since.
Okay. So, effect on Ethereum Classic?
Well, that's a good question. I've been kind of nervous about it as far as holding Ethereum Classic goes, but I mean, at this point, there's a lot of people saying like, oh, they're not going to sell the coins. They're not going to, the exchanges won't let them or whatever, which I find to be dubious because, you know, the whole point of Ethereum Classic is that the smart contract is law type situation. And so I don't know why they wouldn't allow people to sell the coins, right?
Yeah, sure.
But that said, it seems like so many of them have been cashed out at this point that while it is a substantial amount of overall cash value, I think in terms of the total Ethereum Classic ecosystem, I don't think it's going to have a huge effect.
Okay, and next on our news list, we got some Stratis news. Stratis is adding those masternodes.
Stratis, they have announced this week that they are adding masternodes. What do you think?
Well, masternodes are a good way to lock up supply of a coin. Know that.
Right. That's true. So you think this is a decision that's kind of like an economic incentive, maybe not a technological one?
I don't know. Do they have any technological advantages?
Well, the whole point of masternodes is supposed to be that they're utilized as part of a coin mixing service, right? So like TakenCoin, the idea is that the masternodes are contributing to the anonymity of the blockchain. I don't really understand what that is supposed to mean in the context of Stratis, right? Like, this is supposed to be a smart contracts platform, just using a different language than Ethereum. That's kind of like the whole original point. And so it's, from a technical perspective, I do think it's an odd choice for them to go in the masternodes direction. But like you alluded to at first, it makes plenty of sense in terms of the economic incentives.
I'm noticing these different types of nodes, too. Are those different types of... like masternodes? The Breeze Tumbler mode.
Okay.
Tumbler node is the masternode. I see that very easily.
All right.
But then I see the payment node, the sidechain node, and the identity node, and those are less clear to me.
That's interesting. I did not really didn't dive in deep enough, I guess, to see what those differences were.
Okay. Yeah, it's not very well described in this article, so that might just be all that it is at the moment.
Well, if it is not just a straight fork of masternodes, that's a little bit more interesting to me than if they had just cloned the TakenCoin masternodes as it is. But as always, the big thing that I'm looking for on these smart contracts platforms is some successful implementations of the smart contract code. And so for this announcement to happen right now, kind of at the height of the Stratis pump, I just it's not the direction I was hoping they would go in, to be honest. But I do understand that the economic incentives are there, and I guess we'll just kind of have to see how it plays out.
The real question is, are you going to set up your Stratis masternode, though?
Oh, yeah, so that's the other thing about the nodes. You need to have like 120,000 Stratis or something? Like, I don't know what the actual number is, but it's very large.
Okay, nice.
And again, that makes sense too, because you have a lot of coins where the threshold is really low, and like one person will be running 25 masternodes off one, crappy computer in their basement or something. Like, that's not contributing a lot to the network by doing that. But at the same time, is it contributing less than only having a handful of people that could ever afford them? I don't know.
I guess we'll have to find out on that one.
So yeah, a little bit of a idiosyncratic decision from the Stratis crew there, in my opinion. But they've done really well with the project so far. So I'm gonna give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt on this one and try and see how it plays out.
Cool. How about this next news item here?
Alrighty, we have Monero's anonymity being questioned this week.
Yeah, so I kind of don't know a lot of the technical parts about this one, to be honest.
The idea was, so there was like 3 papers, supposed papers or whatever, that were released at once, all calling into question the anonymity of the Monero chain, in the sense that they were claiming that there was enough information in the transactions to trace back the identity of the vast majority of the transaction, the people who made the transactions. And so, obviously, if the theme of your coin is anonymity, that could potentially be a huge problem. But immediately there was a ton of pushback to this. It's one of those weird crypto things. It's like all of a sudden three people come out at once talking about the same vulnerability, and then people start to suspect that there's ulterior motives. It does turn out that one of the people who did one of the papers was associated with Zcash. And so then everybody's going to kind of assuming that it's just like a FUD type attempt thing from the Zcash crew to try and shoot down Monero. And then it gets to be this big fracas. Supposedly what really makes it weird is that this exploit is not really new. It's something that's been around for a while and supposedly been addressed.
Yeah.
And again, I can't speak to, from a technical perspective, how legitimate that is.
Right. Yeah, it's tough with all that stuff. You kind of have to take everybody's word with a grain of salt. I just to correlate it to something more mainstream this week was that leak of some Microsoft operating system 0 days. You see that at first, and then the next day it's like, oh well, that was patched months ago.
It's
like, well, okay.
Okay, yeah, that's actually a great parallel. It's funny how some of this works, and again, a lot of it points to just the contentious nature of crypto and how people will kind of try and do anything to get ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess it'd be great if people could bring this type of stuff forward without making it a against you type of thing, because the nature of open source software is supposed to be so much more collaborative, and it's almost like they accidentally collaborate without intending to, by sort of talking about it, like the information gets to the forefront. But
that's a really good point. Like if anybody who's associated with Zcash says anything bad about the technology of Monero, people are going to automatically assume that it's just like a FUD campaign or a disinformation campaign. So it's kind of an interesting point of to what extent can we actually collaborate honestly with each other in the crypto space?
Right.
When there's so much money on the line and these financial incentives.
And they all want to be the next Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, definitely. And the financial incentives are so huge that everybody's just constantly like at each other's throat, and it's really hard to try and parse anything in the context of the actual value of what is being said, because it's always so easy to assume that there's this ulterior financial motive,
Yeah, well, and that's probably because people can't imagine it not being there.
Yeah.
But
at the end of the day, this is just like kind of a funny piece of crypto, kind of a weirdly normal thing in crypto, but at the end it's like, this didn't really affect my opinion of Monero or Zcash. It's like, I feel like those coins are still the same, and this is just kind of people having it out with each other.
Yeah, I can see it that way as well.
So that was the news about Monero's anonymity being questioned this week.
All right. So we got a little bit of news on the desk here about Bitfinex and that Wells Fargo lawsuit that we briefly covered recently.
So last week we had mentioned that Bitfinex was suing Wells Fargo because Wells Fargo had stopped processing wire transfers to and from their services, which includes apparently Tether is tied into this too, the USD Tether cryptocurrency. This week they dropped the lawsuit. So I don't know what that tells you. It makes it seem like Bitfinex is definitely not in a strong position here.
Dang.
And it's a bit of a problem. I mean, the entire USD liquidity of Bitfinex is kind of it's on shaky ground right now. I think they're only processing withdrawals in other currencies, and it's good that they still have the ability to do that, and it's nice to give people a way out like that. But if thinking about this in the bigger picture, we probably haven't really had a USD kind of liquidity issue like this in quite a long time.
Correct.
And it harkens us back to the 2014 days, like when MTGOX went down. That was the last time we really saw these huge price gaps between the different exchanges. And so it's a little alarming. I would definitely like to see it resolved. I don't think that it's anywhere even close to the same order of magnitude as any of kind of the 2014 shenanigans were. Like, I think we've come a long way since then, but it is.
What about compared to just like the China stuff that we were talking about for months?
I don't, I'm very far from being an insider on any of this, but I feel like the liquidity on the Chinese markets was never mainly in USD. I think people were almost always just trading with Bitcoins. At least international traders were trading with Bitcoins that they had sent in, and the Chinese yuan liquidity was probably provided by a handful of like more centralized sources. And so I don't know if there's a huge comparison here, because now the problem with Bitfinex now is that their USD liquidity is being restricted severely. And so I guess that could be analogous to the Chinese yuan situation too. But then
but like a bigger or a smaller deal, in a generalization type of sense, like this doesn't seem as big of a deal to me right off the bat.
Right, that's true. I mean, this theoretically on the surface, this just seems like a problem with them negotiating with the banks, whereas the problem with the Chinese exchanges is the PBOC is just setting the rules, And so in that way, it doesn't seem like, I'm not sure that the rules have changed. Like, is Finex going to have to completely change their business model to accommodate
I wonder.
The banks in order to get the USD liquidity back or whatever, or how that's going to work, I can't say. But it's not the kind of thing that you want to have drag on. It's something that needs to get sorted out. So
yeah,
it's something that I'm keeping an eye on.
Cool. I'm sure there'll be plenty of lawsuits around Bitcoin coming up.
Yeah, no doubt. Another news this week: the Mirai botnet is allegedly mining Bitcoin now.
Interesting. How can people say this?
I kind of have this feeling like I don't know if that Mirai botnet, like, does that term even have any meaning anymore, or is it just like anything that's an Internet of Things device that's compromised gets labeled as part of the Mirai botnet? I'm not really sure how that works, but
I wouldn't know either.
I also can't imagine that they would ever get like any Bitcoin.
Well, I mean, but if you have enough little things, I guess that adds up, right?
Right, but it's like an order of magnitude question. If the number of devices on the botnet is like, 10 to the 7 or something, if the amount of mining that they're doing is only, 10 to the minus 9 of what an ASIC can do, then they'll never get any Bitcoin, right?
Right.
And so I would feel like that would have to be the case with how advanced ASICs are these days. Like, I can't imagine I can't imagine your smart toaster having that much hashing power, but I might be wrong. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know either. It'd be great if they were mining a shitcoin instead, though.
Yeah. Now you're talking my language. If they came out, that's a good idea actually. if I was a Mirai botnet miner, that's exactly what I would be looking at.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone knows all the mining returns are in altcoins. Why would you
exactly.
be mining Bitcoin?
Seriously, with a toaster, it doesn't make sense. But it's happening apparently, so that's out there.
That's a little bit of the fun and interesting news around the altcoin space this week. We always encourage you to send us news. We're over at blockchaindynamics.net. You can click on Contact Us and send us some info.
Or post it to our Cryptopia thread. We always see what goes on there, too.
Or you could tweet it at us. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Just send us news. We like altcoin news, like forks and stuff, controversies, people fighting each other, that kind of fun stuff.
But that leads us into the numbers, which is our market section.
That's right. Going to jump into the markets. Another out-of-control week of altcoin markets this week.
This definitely kind of has an unreal feeling at this point.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to think about, too. Like, it's, we're sitting here with microphones, so it makes it sound like we have the first clue what we're talking about, but we're so deep into uncharted waters now with crypto, like, I truly have no idea what's happening in coins right now. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it, and it's just insane.
Yeah. Bitcoin's actually down, but not much. It's down 0.5% this week from last show.
That's right. Depending on who you ask, it could be anywhere from about $1,180 to $1,220. So yeah, sideways Bitcoin this week, man. That's supposed to be the dream for altcoin traders. So
man, it seems to be fulfilling its prophecy.
Yeah, altcoins are huge this week. First up, ETH is back up 12%, so basically regained all of the ground that they had lost last week.
That's nice.
No surprise there.
Ripple's holding flat. Might recall that they regained their high-ranking position there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, Ripple had it was just last week that the Ripple pump was at its most
Oh, really?
ridiculous.
That was just
oh, wait,
last
no,
week?
it was 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
I think it was
2 weeks
2
ago.
weeks.
It was 2 weeks ago, you're right.
But yeah, for a while they were kind of slipping in their positioning, but they were top 3 for a long time and regained that. I don't know if they are top 3 right now, but
so yeah, they had that huge pump, and then what's weird is how relatively stable it's been since. Ripple almost completely flat this week, which, looking to other coins that have done these huge pumps like Dash, that's kind of surprising to see. So I think that's definitely something to watch as far as Ripple goes.
Right.
Just looking at the numbers overall this week, these numbers are crazy. The top 100 altcoins, 83 out of 100 are up versus USD. 85 out of 100 are up versus Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? We keep talking about when we're not going to report that altcoins are going up, so it'll happen, but not this week. And
we all keep imagining, what the other side of this cycle is like. We've been through the bear markets and stuff, and I can't remember anything like this. Even in the crazy days of 2014, I don't quite remember it.
Well, it wasn't this volume.
Yeah, the volume was lower. The absolute numbers were way lower, and even on a coin by coin basis, like 83 out of 100 coins gaining ground on USD week to week. That's like,
well, yeah. So once again, you're in a situation where randomly choosing was likely to work out.
yeah, or playing a basket of coins, or again, unless you like rolled snake eyes, and happened to pick the 5 coins that went down. Like, it's tough to lose at this point. It's really awesome.
Yeah. That's going to put the top 100 median gain at about 20% versus USD and 21% versus Bitcoin.
Yeah, so another interesting number there, just looking at the median growth of the top 100 coins at 20%. That's, again, right up there with some of the highest numbers we've ever seen. And that's been the case every week for the past, about 6 weeks now?
Something like that.
When did the ETF thing happen? That's really when it all started.
And then the average gain would be 30% there.
Yeah, an average gain of 30%. So the average top 100 altcoin gets 30% up this week. Just unbelievable. But yeah, that really kind of going back to that kind of axiom of trading for altcoins, at least, that if Bitcoin is sideways, altcoins are up. We're definitely seeing some huge confirmation of those numbers this week.
Yeah, and that's great. Actually, it feels really good as a trader. I do get anxious for Bitcoin to actually make a move, because I just remember when it was changing by $100 value a day or whatever, and never knew which way it was going to be. Yeah,
it's been this stair-step thing, and it's just been flat this week. It still feels like we're on the edge of a cliff with Bitcoin, but just anything is possible. We're so far into uncharted waters that there's really, like, it's almost like the entire ecosystem is growing in huge strides all at once. I don't really know why. I can't explain it. It just seems to be happening.
Just time, I guess.
I guess it's just its time has come. Another interesting thing that we have been trying to keep track of is which of the top altcoins is leading the charge, kind of which altcoins is the general trend tracking the most towards. The predominant theory has been that it's been Ethereum, right?
Right.
The 2016 alt cycle really started off with the Ethereum pump. And we're seeing, once again, that idea kind of being confirmed. If you look at the top 100 alts and track their value with Ethereum and without Ethereum, you get almost the exact same growth percent rate. And this is something that we've observed. There have been a couple of weeks where it's like Ethereum's been kind of out of track with the rest of altcoins. But by and large, week to week, almost every single week, we see that the overall alt markets kind of climb and fall with Ethereum. Even if you don't include Ethereum in the calculation, right? If you control for Ethereum's change, you still see that alts will tend to track with Ethereum in their overall growth numbers. And you don't see that when you compare against. We've looked at Dash, we've looked at Ripple, maybe even like Zcash. Looking at all these coins, they all seem to kind of rise and fall asynchronously with the rest of altcoins. But once again, this week we're seeing that alts are tracking really closely to Ethereum.
Yep, in that overall way. Overall, the alt caps are back up. They're at 9.526 billion this week. That's up 14%, which means that they fully recovered from last week's losses.
Yep, we are just once again back to the all-time highs for altcoin market caps, and theoretically poised for another leg up, or who knows?
Yeah, some sort of leg.
Yeah, something will happen. We can promise you that. Don't know what it's going to be.
We love to track those dominance levels. With the BTC dominance, that's a measurement of Bitcoin's market cap versus the entirety of the altcoin and Bitcoin markets.
Yeah, that's like all Bitcoin's percentage of all cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, so Bitcoin's at 66.9%, and that's down 3% from last week, actually.
Yep, that just reflects the strength of altcoins. Bitcoin sideways this week, like we mentioned. Altcoins going up huge means that Bitcoin dominance will slide.
F dominance also down. F dominance at 46.2% this week, and that's down 0.5%, so that's not a lot of down.
No, really small decline. And again, that's a little bit surprising because Ethereum had huge gains this week, so you might not expect for the Ethereum dominance to go down. But like we mentioned earlier, the rest of the alt markets tracked about 2% ahead of Ethereum, which allowed the Ethereum dominance to slide a little bit despite the big Ethereum rally this week.
Yeah, that's right. So some of those really big gainers within the altcoin area are going to be ARK, went up 290%. You got Mona up 137%, Pivx up 136%, and Block up 119%.
Man, this is actually some really interesting numbers on the gainers this week. Pivx stands out to me at 136% gain because if there's ever a coin that I thought couldn't possibly keep going up, it's been Pivx. And
Yeah,
it just
definitely
keeps
didn't
going
expect
up.
that to be on this list again.
Unbelievable. So, yeah, huge congrats to the Pivx people, whoever it is that has a lot of Pivx.
Yeah, and ARK still was a relatively new coin to be traded, so...
Another one I wouldn't have expected this kind of huge breakout. I was not surprised to see it kind of come out of the gate really strong and then cool off a little bit. I thought that would kind of be the story for ARK. I thought it would cool off and stay cool for a little bit, maybe have a little bit of consolidation time.
I didn't have much.
Absolutely nothing like that happened. It shot up almost 300% this week. That's a huge gain on the 7-day timescale. That's huge.
And of course, Mona and Block as well.
Yeah, Mona going up. There's a lot of excitement around the Japanese market right now, and that's reflected with MonaCoin. It's kind of apparently become the shitcoin flagship for whatever people who are interested in that.
It's the Dogecoin of Japan.
I guess.
It's Afghanistanimation.
It's like it's what European and Americans think the Dogecoin of Japan is going to be, so it's pumping or something. I don't know.
Good on all that. And then on the other side of the fence, we got Shadow Cash down 24%. Zcoin down 16%, Bellacoin down 13%, and Komodo down 10%.
I think Shadow Cash is just wrapping up that particle swap, so probably not surprising to see it fall after that. A little bit of a break in the trend. We'd been seeing most of these swap coins tend to rise right up to the swap and then start dropping after. With Shadow Cash kind of declining into the swap, that's potentially a sign that this little bit of a mini trend in snapshots might be cooling off a little bit. As far as the rest of the list, these are actually really small losses. Like the biggest loss is 24%.
Yeah, we had huge losses last week.
Yeah, last week the smallest loss on the list was bigger than the biggest loss this week. So just I guess shows how strong the markets are this week.
Yeah. It didn't. Yesterday was kind of the opposite, or last week, was kind of the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Last week was like the retrace or whatever, but it was a pretty. All things considered, we've regained all of the ground that we lost last week. So just kind of shows how strong the market is overall still. Pretty
incredible week. Always exciting to report some altcoin and Bitcoin news to everybody, numbers-wise. And now we're going to head into our dot giveaway.
That's right. It is time for the weekly dot giveaway.
As you know or don't know, we roll the dots into the next week's giveaway. So We've managed to make it up to 60,000 dots. And
that's a lot of dots.
I think last week's question might have been a little harder, but we will see. The way that it works is we'll ask the question. You will direct message the account at Chain Dynamics on Twitter with the answer.
That's right.
And if you get it right before the show is over, then we send you the 60,000 dots.
Yep, it has to be claimed by the time the live broadcast is over. Otherwise, we're going to roll those dots into next week's reward.
All right. So the question is, on which block did Verge fork to multi-algo?
That's right, VergeCoin, formerly Dogecoin Dark.
They forked over to a multi-algo setup, and we'd like you to tell us what block that was at. Winner gets 60,000 dot.
That's right, tweet that answer to
at Chain Dynamics. All right, we're going to go into our rolling review. Rolling Review is a segment that allows us to keep track of maybe some coins that would be easy for us to lose track of otherwise. They aren't necessarily coins that we think are going to be great, but they're interesting coins.
Yeah, we kind of we surf through dozens of coins every week here at Chain Dynamics, and the Rolling Review kind of represents the coins that we thought were worth trying to keep up with. And we miss a lot, too. There's a lot of awesome coins that have not fallen through the rolling review list, but...
That's true. So one of them on the review that we'll cover this week is Zero.
That's right, Zero. So this was a fork of Zcash, just a no developer rewards fork of Zcash. The twist on this is that they hardened up the mining parameters so that fewer people can mine it. And they've kind of gained some new ground now because Z Classic would have been their main competitor, kind of the closest coin in spirit to Zero. But Z Classic is now forking over, or I guess snapshotting over to Zencash. And that gives an opportunity for Zero, I guess.
So what's everybody so upset about in this thread?
It's funny. I love reading some of these Bitcoin talk threads. You can tell when it's really getting good when people start complaining about certain things that don't really matter at all. The first one is when miners sell their coins. Like, of course miners are going to sell their coins. That's what miners do. But there's people in the thread that are just convinced that the miners are going to ruin the coin and sell it down to zero. So that, for me, is actually kind of, in a weird way, a good sign for me. I'm also seeing people in the thread complaining about the inflation rate, which is funny because it's just a long proof-of-work coin. There's really nothing spectacular or unusual about the inflation rate. And then really not a lot of comment from the dev. They are looking into... There's kind of like a community building up to try and maintain the coin and keep up with the Zcash updates.
Oh, okay.
And so they're going to try and implement the fix for... There was some kind of technical glitch with Zcash that was revealed this week. And so there's going to be somebody trying to implement the fix for that. So honestly, yeah, I wasn't sure what to think about Zero for the past couple of weeks, but I'm actually really bullish on it right now, just in light of the fact that there are so many people who are involved with it and getting emotionally invested into it and all that kind of... it's starting to show the signs of something that could have just been a quick out of the gate, like quick cash grab thing. And now it's really starting to show the signs of something that could develop into a more long-term project.
Nice. All right. Another coin that we're going to talk about this week from the rolling review is Netco.
Netco. So this is kind of a funny coin. I can't tell if this is a coin that is developed by Stay Secure or if he's just helping out with the project, but the idea is that it's a coin for a Slovenian IT company.
Yep.
There's really not too much to say about this other than it's out there and the blockchain's working. It's doing what it's supposed to. As far as if there's going to be any kind of defining futures and stuff, they are as yet unannounced. But it's kind of one of those weird things about crypto where sometimes a coin just kind of gets noticed by the right people or enough people and starts to build up steam. And I'm starting to see a little bit of that with Netco. So I'm kind of wondering if even though, if you look at the fundamentals or look at the specs, it's not all that different than some of the other kind of no pre-mine miners coins that have come out recently. It might just be that through luck or whatever other thing, it's catching the eye of a lot of people, and that can be a valuable asset on its own.
Sure. Or, that can be a big flash in the pan, at least in a short-term thing, that's for sure. But I think for any blockchain, like we've seen that long-term life cycle is really where it's at. So who knows with this one on that regard yet. That'd be sweet, though.
Yeah, just withstanding the test of time can be a huge, huge indicator for a lot of coins. And for this to be getting the attention that it is getting for what it is now, I think will be, if nothing else, an incentive for the people in the project to try and stick around and try and build it into maybe something bigger.
Another coin on the rolling review this week is Rhinos.
Yeah, so Rhinos is one we've been keeping up on. This was an airdrop. I'll call it a formulaic airdrop. We've seen a lot of things that started off like this before. But it started to distinguish itself in a couple of ways. One, very high early price. People were paying a lot for the airdrops early on, which is not very common. And then a lot of times these fizzle out really fast. And we're really not seeing that at all with Rhinos. This week, I guess they announced Masternodes.
Oh, really? That sort of seems like the flavor of the month, right?
Yeah, big time, big time.
Bivix did so well.
Yeah, that's got to be part of it.
And Dash, of course, did well before that. So,
but where I didn't like the focus on Masternodes for Stratis, I think it's a smart choice for a coin like Rhinos. Like, Stratis is already kind of a top tier coin that has a lot of, futures, a lot of selling points already that I would rather that they be focusing on. Renos is just a basic, kind of a clone fork type coin.
Yeah, I can definitely see the distinction there.
And so, they got to do something to distinguish themselves from the pack. Obviously, they're going to be, by going with masternodes, they're going to make themselves the 75th altcoin to ever have masternodes or whatever. It's not exactly...
Yeah.
It's not exactly a mind-blowing new future, but kind of going back to Netco, sometimes just the network effect of having the right people in the coin at the right time can be a huge asset. And I think that what they've essentially done with this masternodes move is help to keep the people involved who already are involved and kind of keep driving the value of this network forward.
One other one that we'll take a look at this week on the Rolling Review is Zencash. So that's that snapshot of Z Classic that's going to happen, and they're waiting for block 100,000 for that snapshot.
Yeah, so in contrast to Shadow Cash, which did not really have a huge spike in the lead up to its snapshot, Z Classic is doing the opposite. They've been blowing up.
Yeah. So Z Classic's market cap is currently at 4.69 million.
So yeah, that's up about 300% in 3 weeks. The snapshot is expected to be in about 2 weeks from now. Supposedly on April 29th, so about 13 days.
And at that point, they will have gone back to having a founder's reward of some type?
Well, it's just a snapshot, so the Z Classic chain will remain as it is, but then the Zencash chain will be born, and there will be a pre-mine. So it's not a founder's reward. It's a pre-mine distribution.
Okay. Huh. All right.
That is Zencash.
Another one, final one on the Rolling Review this week is Allion.
Allion, this was formerly TrollPay. This is one that we didn't really pay any attention to at first, but it kind of gained enough traction for us to add it to the review later. I think the video site still works, right? The whole idea, it's kind of funny, the whole idea behind it is that it's a coin for a video service, kind of like PureVids. That kind of begs the question of what the point of the token is, but it's also crypto, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, the website was working one time when we checked it out. I remember that.
I think it still works. So yeah, they're kind of presenting themselves as a more legitimate PureVids platform, and they rebranded themselves to Allion, and they got a Yobit listing.
All right.
So yeah, they've been doing well for themselves.
Right on. I think we're just going to move right into the new coins.
That's right. That does it for our rolling review. And up next, as always, we got to cover those new coins.
Yeah. And the first new coin this week is Caya Future.
Caya Future. That's Caya Future. Let's see. Let's take a look here. Pop the thread up. What do we got here? Caya cryptocurrency.
Yeah. So it has 1,000 block pre-mine for bounties, which is a little bit high. Not the worst we'll see this week, though.
1,000 block ain't that bad.
Besides for that, it's not too bad on the mining stat side. Low block reward, but pretty fair in its reduction rate. So I don't know. I would imagine if this can get traded, some people will be happy. But I don't know. Once again, there's nothing in this thread that has anything to do with being used or an advanced blockchain whatsoever.
Right. There's nothing in the thread to indicate that they have anything that could be planned long term. Looks like it is an SHA 256 coin. I actually kind of like SHA for alts, so I think that's a fine choice. But yeah, right now it's really just a cryptocurrency that's mining, and we don't have a lot of other indication. But it's a different format. Like, it doesn't feel necessarily like some of these super high pre-mine, just like wallet builders type posts tend to look. It looks like there's a little bit more here. But at the same time, there isn't really any branding or anything else like that to give away what their plans are.
Right.
And that coin is Caya Future, Caya.
Up next in the new coins list is AthaCoin.
This is an easy coin to figure out what it's all about. Just a 90% pre-mine X13, really low effort clone.
Okay.
We also had TorCoin this week.
TorCoin.
TorCoin. So let's see here. The idea, of course, is that it's a coin that supposedly uses the Tor anonymous network.
Right. And it is from longtime coin developer Carson Clock.
That's right. Legendary shitcoin developer Carson Clock has returned from retirement. I can't think of any of what his old coins were. Do you remember what any of them were?
I don't
remember.
Sorry, I can't.
Maybe I can dig back on his Bitcoin talk history and see what he's posted in. But he's famous for pre-mine dumps, basically, back in the day. People used to put a little bit more effort into their pre-mine dumps. Like, they would kind of make it look like a legit project for like 2 weeks and then dump the pre-mine. Today we've progressed to a more advanced time where there's no really effort to even make it look like a good coin, which is funny. But apparently Carson's jealous of the shitcoin devs because he's back.
Yeah. How about the coin itself?
TorCoin. So honestly, it's just the pre-mine's too big for me, I guess. I like the idea that this Carson guy's back, even though his reputation is sometimes questionable. Even it's like altcoins are so bullish right now that if this guy actually settled down and really tried his best to make a good coin, it probably would get a major market cap. But I'm not convinced that he's not just here to dump the pre-mine either.
Sure.
The pre-mine is 1.2 million blocks worth, so that's as far as pre-mines go, that's pretty damn substantial. So yeah, I guess I'm not necessarily interested in playing it. You know, I'm kind of happy to see him backing away. His worst coins are still better than a lot of what we're seeing today, but I'm not convinced that this is going to be any good either.
All right. I'll just take a second to announce that somebody got the trivia question.
Oh shit! Nice.
Yeah, that's right.
Congrats to the 60,000 dot winner.
Yep. So
Sweet.
We'll get at you after the show here. The answer to that was block 340,000.
Yep. Alrighty, so that was TorCoin. That's the Carson Clock coin that we were just talking about. Next up on our list of new coins here is one called StonkaCoin.
StonkaCoin. Nice. This coin, when you look at the graphics, it looks like a 420 weed coin, basically.
Yeah, totally.
But I was kind of like, nobody's ever said Stonka before.
Yeah, now we're pretty cool here at Blockchain Dynamics. We're with it, you know. we've heard what we think is all of the slang terms for weed, but
no, not this one. So I had to go look it up, and it actually, the Urban Dictionary says it just means anything you want. Good, bad, stupid. So I guess this coin is Stonka.
It just is.
Yep.
The specs aren't anything special, just a kind of another big pre-mine type situation. A really large amount goes to bounties as well, which is not something that I really like to see. They did pick up the Supernova pool, so good for them on that. I think they're on Yobit too already. But I think it's just going to be like, with coins like this, like if you did get involved, usually you're just going to end up holding it for like 2 years and hoping that it catches a flash pump on Yobit or something, you know?
Right. Which isn't too far-fetched, but it's also a long ways to go for a little juice.
Yep, little Stonka.
Up next is TakenCoin.
Alrighty, this is a coin based off this Liam Neeson movie. I never watched Taken. I don't know how it became such a pop culture phenomenon, but
well, it is, and apparently now there is a TakenCoin.
It's out there. The coin itself, just another huge pre-mine shitcoin.
Yeah, they just like to make it a really long proof of work, really huge pre-mine, bam.
Okay.
The next proof of work coin is TranceCoin.
TranceCoin.
These guys have a radio station that plays trance music.
Yeah, so
that's something.
This is really all it takes for me these days, right? TranceCoin versus like TakenCoin. Basically, the specs are completely identical. They both have huge pre-mines. The coin itself is completely pointless, but TranceCoin has a radio station. For some reason, it's just like PureVids, right? It's a totally pointless coin, but it has a video streaming service, right? So it gets a big pump. We're in such a crazy market that just because this having the radio station makes it interesting, even though it's, you know, doesn't really, it's an odd value add, you know, there's not really a lot of value add there, but It goes back to the developer effort type thing. It just shows you that they've put even the slightest bit of effort beyond just forking the coin into this project. And with all new coins, it's more likely to go to zero than do anything else. But at least it's done something.
Yeah, but do you remember a time period when we used to be excited when a coin got listed? Because not every coin could really get listed, and it'd be like, oh, is my coin? I mined my coin, but is it going to get on the exchange?
That was back in back then. I would mine there were few enough coins coming out, and the bad ones were obvious enough that you could mine basically every decent looking coin that came out. And like Wood said. The question would be, do they get on exchange or not? Not, do they get on exchange and go to one sat?
Yeah, they were going to go to one sat. That was a given.
Right. But these days it's all just one sat. They all get listed. They all go to one sat for some reason. But
all right.
Where are we at here? TranceCoin? TranceCoin.
We just did that one.
Back then, if a coin did get listed, you knew you were going to make money.
Yeah.
That is no longer the case for the most part with mining. It's easy to lose.
Yeah, I think you're right there. It used to be kind of, you could take a real shotgun approach.
Yeah, but like I said, I used to mine basically everything back then, and then if it got listed, I would try and sell for 3x to break even and then bank on the rest for a pump or whatever. And that kind of strategy definitely does not work anymore. There's way too much crap out there to make any money trying to actually play every coin.
We'll take a look at another proof of stake coin, SustainCoin here.
SustainCoin.
Got announced this week.
What are we sustaining?
I think they're trying to say they're going to sustain the chain, but it's got a kind of slow proof of work compared to proof of stake. That's kind of the only thing interesting here. Of course,
the blocks take longer for proof of stake.
Well, you're at you get 20% for proof of stake, whereas the proof of work only grows by 10% annually at first.
Wait, that's weird. The proof of work reward increases on an annual basis.
I think they're referring to the total chain inflation.
What? Oh, okay, I get it.
Contributed to by the proof of work.
So there is still a normal block halving. Okay,
yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right.
But what they're saying is stake our coin, right?
Yep, right.
And I'm not sure it's coming across so good, mostly because of the pre-mine.
Another big pre-mine. What's the pre-mine?
60,000 blocks on this one.
Ooh. That is a lot. That's not the worst we've seen, but once again, pushing it. Yeah. You can figure about 1,500 blocks per day. So, actually, this has a slower block target. This is 120-second blocks, so you can figure about 800 blocks a day or whatever. That means to catch up to that 60,000 block pre-mine is going to be 2 to 3 months. That's pretty steep.
Yeah, especially in crypto terms, where we're not sure if the bull market will be over tomorrow morning or not.
Well, and as always, I'm fine. I'm not beefing with the idea of pre-mines. I think that it's okay that people who develop projects would have the incentive to improve it, or would potentially need the cost to maintain their control. Would need the coins to maintain their control over the network, or whatever the case may be. But with coins like SustainCoin, it's just a generic clone, right? There's no futures or anything to justify the pre-mine. They didn't do anything. So it's the pre-mine doesn't make a lot of sense in that context.
Final proof of work, proof of stake new coin this week is KidsCoin.
KidsCoin, one for the kiddos.
Nice, man. I haven't seen a coin like this since Piggy.
Yeah. Now, PiggyCoin was dope. That's a good project.
Yeah.
I don't know why any kid would ever really care about cryptocurrency, but I can't imagine anything more boring to a kid than cryptos.
I don't
know. The trading game's pretty fun.
Some kids would probably like it.
That's true. You might be able to get if your kid does like cryptocurrencies, then they're going to be rich. Jesus. If you'd been smart enough to care about this stuff when you were a 9-year-old, I think you'd be doing pretty well today. But
maybe
at any rate, KidsCoin is probably not actually for kids. It's probably for grown-ups to try and mine and lose their money on.
Yeah. How are the stats looking on this one?
It's got pretty decent rewards, slowly descending block rewards. The reward increments are really long, 1.3 million blocks. But it's just another big pre-mine. So anytime you see a big pre-mine with a lot of blocks, you know that the reason it's long proof of work is not because there's any philosophical or technological benefit to them doing it. They're just doing it to run up the size of the pre-mine. And that is the case here also with KidsCoin.
All right. We got a few airdrops to go through this week.
Alrighty, first up is something called Inuition Fabric. Whoa.
How are they dropping it?
Oh, man, this is a confusing post. Okay, so you get a score from these guys. It's an airdrop. And then you get a score based on the following things. If you are a Twitter follower, if you sign up on Medium, if you sign up at some other website of theirs, if you download the white paper, or if you become a member on Facebook or LinkedIn. If you do any of those things, you get a score, and the more points you have, the larger of a share of the airdrop you get.
Cool.
So that's kind of cool. I mean, to be honest, this is kind of a nice post. As far as posts go, I would say check it out. The theme is deep learning. And they do have a white paper up, so it's probably one that's worth investigating.
All right, another one that's got a little bit of an airdrop going this week is Token Face.
Token Face. All right. So as far as airdrops go, I would say Inuition Fabric is kind of something that I would at least check out. Token Face, not so much. They just want you to give them their Facebook credentials for you to get coins. I don't think that's...
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very appealing to me. I don't know.
Okay, so then these other guys, one more airdrop, VSync.
Another airdrop this week called VSync.
They are giving away 1 million, they say.
They're giving away 1 million, but the pre-mine is 4 million, right? So they're only giving away a quarter of the pre-mine. I do like the specs on this coin, POS 3.0, which I think is probably the best proof-of-stake system that's out there. But otherwise, there's really not a lot to offer here. Just a clone with a big pre-mine and a mid-size airdrop.
All right.
So that does it for the airdrops this week. Next, we're going to jump into the re-announcements, pre-announcements, and other category.
Okay. Here's a rebranding from SpaceCash to SpeedCash.
That's right. YoBitcoin SpaceCash was formerly SpaceCash. Now it's SpeedCash. So just reusing the ticker, of course, because YoBit will never, ever change a ticker.
Playing the game, I guess.
It's funny. This was an at the time high pre-mine coin with a 5% pre-mine, which unfortunately is relatively low these days, but it's just a rebrand YoBit coin situation, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting. We don't see a lot of rebranded YoBit coins.
So yeah, there is SpeedCash.
Another one that got into this category was Nithyrum coin.
And Nithyrum token? Nithyrum. I don't know how it's pronounced, but I'll loop this up. There's another coin called Coinarch that came out this week, and they are both by the developer of Knickknack Coin. And it seems like he's just making Nithyrum token is a Ubiq token. So it's a token on the Ubiq blockchain. Coinarch is a token on the Expanse blockchain. So it seems like he's just taking all the Ethereum clones and making assets on them.
Word.
I didn't. They're all tied to this, supposedly tied to this central project he's working on, but
pretty messy looking announcement here.
Yeah, he's kind of diluting the purpose of his coin by releasing the tokens on every single chain. But who knows? It might work out for him.
All right. Another one this week, Minereum.
They announced this one as Minereum, and then people pointed out to them that there already is a coin called Minereum, so they changed it to Minereum.
Okay.
They say it's a smart contract mining platform, but there's not really any demonstration of how it's supposed to work. So
it works on top of an existing smart contract platform, or it's its own, or
yeah, I don't know, man.
Oh, jeez,
it doesn't make sense.
All right, so there's also GrumFork,
and maybe they'll pull it together. I don't want to knock these Minereum guys down too much, but I'll believe it when I see it, I guess. Yes, and like you said, we also had another coin this week called GrumFork.
Yeah, we got GrumFork here.
GrumFork in it. Instagram platform with cryptocurrency payment is what they're calling it. That actually seems like a pretty good hook, honestly.
Post on Instagram from your computer. That's already how Instagram works.
Yeah. I guess that's the hole in the logic, right? It's like an Instagram themed coin, but you don't need it to use Instagram, so what's the point? Yeah, I don't really get this. I don't get the point of GrumFork. I'm not gonna lie.
Now, I shouldn't be excited about only seeing a 3% pre-mine, but that's lower than some of
in
these
this day and age. And yeah, the proof of work is only 500,000 blocks. So what's a 3% pre-mine on that? That's only like 3,000 blocks or something. That's pretty small compared to what we're used to. That would be 15,000 actually.
Yeah, still pushing it.
I think we gotta, we're old schoolers. We're set in our ways of low pre-mines, but at some point, I'm coming to terms with the fact that the scene is driving itself more towards pre-mine and more towards IPOs, and I just want them to be not quite as scammy as they are. But as it is, the situation is what it is. You got to follow the money, and for better or worse, a lot of these IPOs and a lot of these high pre-mine coins are bringing a lot of cool new tech, and you just got to give credit where it's due.
Yep, I hear you there.
I don't think GrumFork is one of them, but I would be happy to be proven wrong.
Okay, there's also TradeCoin version 2 coming up.
This is just a swap of a coin from earlier this year called TradeCoin.
So any TradeCoin holders, swap your coins.
Do it. We also had Charlie Murphy token this week.
Yeah, as many people probably heard, we lost the great Charlie Murphy, and this is a token to his life.
Yep, so rest in peace, Charlie. This is a Waves platform tribute token for Charlie Murphy.
So these don't usually get too far. I guess we'll see what happens here.
We also had launched this week MyriaToken, another Waves token.
Interesting.
Seen a lot more of these Waves tokens, and I am curious to know like which one of them is going to break through. I feel like one has to eventually. But as it is, I really have no way of trying to value them or guess as to which one it might be.
Ooh, a Myriagon is a polygon with 10,000 sides, they say.
That is a lot of sides. Jesus. Nice. That's funny. That's a good reference.
Okay. That does it for the relaunches, re-announcements, pre-announcements, and other category. We'll just burn through the ICOs real quick. We're probably going to start covering the ICOs a little closer now that there's not a list of 50 of them here.
Yep. Again, even though I'm an old curmudgeon and I like my no pre-mine, no ICO coins, I recognize that there's a lot of value floating around in the ICO game these days. And so I think we're going to try to bring back a little more of the ICO coverage.
But not this week.
We're just going to blast through them. We had BitIssuer, BlockPool.io, BitCad, Cannation, and WiCoin.
Cool. So looking back through all of those announcements.
Okay, let's fire through them here. So you're looking at announcements this week. You're going to want to check out Caya Future, I think. A little bit weird, not making any promises, but it seems like it could do something. TorCoin, TorCoin's probably going to have the most development of any of these, but it's also in a way the most likely to get dumped on you.
The development might just abruptly end.
Yeah, it could abruptly end.
That's the case with any of this.
Yeah, it's the game. It is what it is. I would check out the Intuition Fabric post. That's the airdrop. That's it for me.
I'll just go with you on those. I mean, I think Stonka has the right graphics.
Yeah, I think,
when we talked about some of our indicators last week.
That's a good point, man. It's got the feel. Stonka has the feel of a good post, but it doesn't have the meat of a good post.
Yeah.
But sometimes the feel is enough. Alrighty, and that will do it for another week in new coins here. Next up, we're going to jump into the coin listings, and there were a lot of coin listings this week. Holy crap.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of... maybe we foreshadowed it a little bit earlier when I mentioned that it used to be the case that you would mine something and really just hope that it got listed somewhere, because if it did, then maybe you had a chance of at least recouping most of your money, if not making a profit. Nowadays, it seems like the system's kind of working maybe efficiently enough that everything's getting listed.
Everything gets listed.
So,
the cost of getting listed has gone down, and the number of competitors in the exchange game who are trying to distinguish themselves by adding markets has increased.
So we'd like to cover the listings. Here we go. Cryptopia listed TattooCoin. Actually, I think this might have just been a ticker rename. They also listed SkyCoin and InPay.
Already over on Bittrex, they added Byteball.
Yeah, I think people were excited for that one.
Definitely.
Okay, ready for a big one. Yobit.
Here we go.
They also listed the rebranded TattooCoin. They listed CoinOnat. They listed ConCoin. They listed NanoX. They listed CryptoJournal, FlavorCoin, Thomas Jefferson, Charlie Chaplin, Allion, Mcoin, IddyCoin, 7Coin, HappyCoin, Arta Digital, Scash, Best Chain, EcoCoin, FazCoin, KushCoin, The Vegan Initiative, Taken, VTL Coin, Blazer, StonkaCoin, and Ventrix.
Good lord. Yobit hadn't been listing that many lately. They must have just cleaned out their backlog this week. We also had a bunch of listings from C-Cex. They added BTC Gold, TorCoin, Monetary Unit, Dues, Vertacoin, iCoin, SoftCoin, and EclipseCoin.
Funny to see them relisting EclipseCoin. So at some point they delisted that one due to lack of volume, and here it is back like a week later or whatever.
Anything can happen.
So over on Nova Exchange, they listed Ultimate Secure Coin, Global Token, Thomas Jefferson Coin, that TattooCoin rename again, Flavor Coin, Zennies, AthaCoin, Landcoin, EcoCoin, Goshen Coin, TechCoin, KingCoin, Atmos, TakenCoin, Bix, C-Coin, GulfCoin, TradeCoin version 2, Amiguis, SustainCoin, and 7Coin.
What is that? Amiguis coin? Yeah, I might have to check that one out. That's a funny name.
Amy Guice. That's
Amiguis. Over on LiveCoin, they added DibCoin for us, and then on CoinExchange.io, they added PutinCoin, and also that new TattooCoin rebrand.
All right.
That is just a lot of listings. Hard for me to even wrap my brain around it.
It's hard to look back through it. I mean, it's just cool that Bittrex listed something. I guess that's nice.
SkyCoin on Cryptopia, there was an ICO that I don't really know what it's about, but I think there was definitely some interest in it. Byteball got to be the biggest listing of the week. That's been floating around for a while.
Yeah. And this list of Yobit stuff, I mean, what do you say? You just don't know.
There's a couple standouts. Allion, that coin we mentioned in the review, and also KushCoin.
Yeah. C-Cex, I mean, the monetary unit's cool that they're going that route, and then EclipseCoin, a relisting's kind of back of my head. Nova Exchange, another giant list.
I'm going to look at Amiguis just to see what the hell it is. What is that?
But, nothing too much going on, really.
Nope, that'll do it for the listings this week. And as always, we're going to close it out with those coin birthdays.
Yeah. Boy, it's getting tough to find the real good birthdays this time of year. I got a way better track of it later. 3 years, BeaverCoin, happy birthday.
That's right, BeaverCoin, a 3-year birthday this week. Really surprising to see that there's a coin called BeaverCoin that still exists.
Yeah, this time last year.
This was the animal coins.
Right, exactly. A kind of following after Dogecoin. They got a cute little beaver and crap.
But almost none of them survived, and here's BeaverCoin is still out there with a block explorer, something that could be called a community, and a really low market cap. That kind of all... That's surprising, I guess. I was not expecting to see BeaverCoin still around, that's for sure.
Yeah, so happy birthday there.
Happy birthday, 3 years for BeaverCoin.
And that's going to do it for Blockchain Dynamics.
That's it for Blockchain Dynamics show number 59. As always, you've got to head on over at www.cryptopia.co.nz. A really fun little altcoin market. They've been in the game for a long time. Recently have been seeing a lot of new volume, a lot of new users, so that's been a lot of fun.
Definitely check them out.
I've been having a ton of fun on Topia.
Say hi, head over to the forums, go to our thread in the altcoin section, leave us a message, and we'll throw you a little dot. We love to get suggestions.
Congrats to our dot winner, by the way. That's dope.
Yeah, nice work. The person who won those dots, be sending them over ASAP. Theme is from Grammatic. It's aired by Trial Radio. We'll see you next week with heavier bags.
Peace.
Currency.
Like a couple Bitcoin.
Money,
Hold up on my Nakamoto.